Welcome back, students. We're still talking about payments, specifically annuity due payments. And in this video, we are going to be solving for the present value of that stream of payments. Now, in this video, I'm not going to get into the lecture of what an annuity due is versus an ordinary annuity. Go back and watch the prior video to this, where I give a little bit of a crash course on annuity due. Okay, but I'm going to skip that in this video. All right, leave me your questions. Leave me any time value of money questions in the comments, and I will make a video for you solving it. And also, don't forget, you can download this file and follow along. All right, so quick overview. Of course, I'm going to give you guys an introduction to annuity due questions and solving for the present value of that sort of payment stream. We're going to get you comfortable with getting into begin mode in the calculator and, of course, using the BA2+. So we're just going to jump right into the questions. Remember, if you want a little bit of a background as to what an annuity due is and why it's different than an ordinary annuity, watch the video prior to this. I'll see if I can link it here. You can go back and watch that. All right, let's jump into the questions. And of course, I'm going to grab my highlighter as I always do. For those of you guys that have been watching my videos, I follow the same pattern every single time. It helps me keep track of the variables. I think it's very useful. I recommend it. Okay, so royalties from your acting career have granted you the right to receive $12,500, it should say, in payments at the beginning of each year for the next 15 years. So here comes the question, different highlighter. If the annual interest rate is 7.5%, oh, no, sorry. It's still here. Interest rate is 7.5%. Here's the question. What is the present value of this stream of payments? Okay, so it takes too long to do both the chart and the timeline, so I'm just gonna do one of them. We're looking for the present value, right? We're looking for the present value here. So let's just fill in our timeline. So N, interest, present value, future value. We're looking for present value, right? So how many years do we have? We have 15 years. The interest rate is 7.5%. And what is our payments? So we have, here's time 0, and here's 15 years. Now remember, annuity dues, or payments that are made at the beginning of the year, start at the beginning of the timeline. And we're going to be making $12,500 payments. You guys are going to have to imagine that there are a total of 15 of these payment bubbles, right? 15 of those payment bubbles. Right, so we're trying to figure out the present value of this stream of payments for 15 years, discounted back at 7.5%. All right, so let's grab our financial calculator. Now we need to put this in begin mode. That's incredibly important. It needs to be in begin mode. So we're going to do second, above payments, you see BGN, and then second, above enter, it says set, and then that sets the calculator to begin mode. Now we can just clear out of that. So you can see it here. It's in begin mode. And all of these questions will be in begin mode, so you don't have to change it. However, when you get to an exam, you have to make sure which mode you're in because it makes a huge difference. All right, so let's go left to right here. 15 years. Interest rate is 7.5%. Present value is what we're looking for. Payments, we're making $12,500 payments, so they're negative. They're payments that we're making, so money's leaving us, right? And then the future value is 0. So we're going to compute the present value of that stream of payments. And the present value is $118,614.42. Okay, so $118,642.18. Let's make sure I got that right. Nope, 614.42. Where did I even make up that 8614? 82? 42. I don't know why I got this number stuck in my head. I've been doing too many of these problems in one day. So 118, 614, 42. Great. All right. So pretty straightforward, right? Nothing really that crazy happening here. Leave me any questions that you might have. I'm happy to answer them. But that's the present value of this stream of payments for 15 years discounted back 7.5%. That's what that $118,000 is, what it's worth today, right? If you had the cash in hand, that's what it would be worth. Of course, let me just go one step further and say that if you take this $12,500 payment, if you look 12,000, something that may not be apparent, times 15, you're actually going to get, let's 12,500 times 15. That's actually going to be 187,000, right? It's 187,000. But cash in hand today, discounted at 7.5%, is only worth $118,000. That's a pretty big difference. Now you may be thinking, well, I prefer 187,000, but the truth of the matter is that this discount rate means that this 118,000 equals the 187 over time. Okay, you can't just look at it as a total dollar amount. You need to look at it in the perspective of time and this discount rate. And it's okay if that doesn't make a lot of sense right now. The more you do these problems, the more you get exposed to the information. I hope it begins to make more and more sense. Okay, let's keep going. Grab my highlighter. You have inherited a trust that will provide you with $25,000 payments at the beginning of each year for the next 25 years. Prevailing annual interest rates are 9.5%. Here comes a question. What is the present value of this stream of annual payments? So at this point, I hope it starts to become more natural, right? So number of years, 25 years. Interest rate, 9.5%. Present value, right? What is the present value? That's what we're looking for. And then future value is 0. So where's my stream of payments? I'm receiving, right? I'm receiving 25,000, right, for 25 years. All right, let's grab our financial calculator. That's it. That's all you need, right? We're going to second clear our previous information and clear this out. So left to right, how many years? 25. The interest rate is 9.5%. Present value is what we're looking for. Payments, 25,000. Now they're negative, right? It says here, oh, no. Sorry. You have inherited trust that will provide you, right? They're paying you. They're putting money into your pocket. So therefore, it must be a positive. I'm glad I caught that. So that's for our payment. 0 present value. And then compute the present value of that stream of payments. So $258,353.69. Okay, 258,353. 250. Oop. And I forgot the cents here. And 69 cents. All right. So notice the negative here, right? It's negative, right? That's exactly what our calculator says. And again, you can keep the negative. At least in my class, you can keep the negative. That's how it'll show up on the exams. But eventually, later on in this course, we'll have to drop the negative. And I explain later on why. The calculator uses a cash flow method. And there's a whole video on that. I'll post it. You guys can understand it a little better. Okay, but in order to keep things straight for my students at the beginning, I let them keep that negative there. It sort of gradually gets them used to eventually dropping it, right? Okay, all right, let's keep going. So question number 3, you have won the lottery and are set to receive $50,000 per year for the next 20 years. Current interest rates are 5.5%. What is that worth in today's money? All right, so here's a question. What is that worth in today's money? And then it's giving us a little bit of payments are set to start immediately, right? That's what tells me it's an annuity due. So number of years, I have 20 years. Interest rate, 5.5%. That's what we're going to discount this stream of payments by. Present value is what we're looking for. Future value is 0. And then we have year 0, and then we have 20 years we're going to be receiving these payments. So we're going to be receiving $50,000 in payments. Let's put that into our financial calculator. So second clear. Let's see. We're going to do 20 years, 5.5%. The present value is what we're looking for. Payments, it's going to be $50,000 that we're receiving, so it's a positive. 0 future value, and then we're going to compute the present value. So the present value of that stream of payments is $630,382.68. 630,000. What did we say that was? 382.68. And that's going to be a negative according to the calculator, right? Yep. Okay. All right, let's keep going. So these are going to be kind of interesting. There's only 2 questions left, so just bear with me. Okay, again, you can pause the video and give it a try. So your company owns the mineral rights to a patch of land known to have oil. An oil company has offered to pay you $115,000 per year starting today. This is the key word, starting today, right? For the next 10 years, right? For the right to drill on your land. If the oil company is using a discount rate of 7.50%, what is the stream of payments worth today? What is the stream of payments worth today? So, how many years are we talking about? 10 years. The discount rate, or the interest rate, is 7.50. Present value is what we're looking for. Future value is 0. So what is my stream of payments? I have times 0. How many years? 10 years, right? So the stream of payments is $115,000 that they are paying me for 10 years, right? So what is it worth in today's dollars? What is the present value? Let's second clear our time value of money. And left to right, 10 years. Discount rate or interest rate is 7.5%. Present value is what we're looking for. Payments, $115,000. And that's a positive, right? Because we're receiving that money. And 0 future value. So we're going to compute the present value, $848,572.01. 848,572. Okay, that's what that contract would be worth in your pocket today. So if someone came to you and said, hey, I will offer you $900,000 today, you should take it because it's worth more than that stream of income. But if someone came to you and said, hey, I'll offer you $800,000, then you shouldn't take it, right? Because the stream of income is worth more at this discount rate. That's key, right? At that discount rate. So we're going to see that in the next question. So based on question 4, you were offered $897,194.61 for the same mineral rights by another company. So here's the question. What discount rate or required rate of return would that company be using? So when it says what discount rate, what term are we talking about? We are talking about interest, right? So let's fill out the chart because this one might actually warrant it. So all the other terms are the same. So we have 10 years. The interest rate is what we're looking for here, the discount rate. The present value is what they're offering. So it's the $897,194.61. Okay, that's what you're being offered. It's going to be a positive. The payments are going to be exactly the same, right? Because we're comparing it to the payments we're receiving, $115,000. Okay. And so we're going to put the payments as negative, and there is no future value. There is no future value. Okay. You can't have both the present value and the payments be positive or negative. One of them has to be. So if you're being offered and you're receiving that money, that means the payments must be negative, right? So what is the interest rate that this company, or the discount rate that this company is using, right, to make you the offer of this present value today. Well, let's pull up our calculator. Second clear. So we're going to do 10 years still. We're looking for the interest rate here, right? The present value that's being offered is $897,194.61 present value. Now, I'm going to leave payments as positive just to show you what happens. 115. Hope I don't make a fool out of myself, right? And then 0 future value. We're going to compute the interest rate. And of course, no, we're going to error. One of them has to be negative. And we're going to make 115,000, this payment stream, negative. Okay, payments. We're going to compute the interest rate. So they are using a discount rate of 6%. So they are using a discount rate of 6%, right? On the timeline, of course, that would look like 10 years and then NI, which is what we're looking for. Present value is that, I'm just going to put it at 897,000. You guys already know. I'm not going to put all the details. And that stream of payments would be 115,000, right? Future value is equal to 0. So what we're trying to say here is, well, they offered us 897,000, which is more than the 848, right? So how much are, because what happens is you need to compare it to the same stream of income, right? You need to compare it. There's still going to be 10 years of this 115,000, but they're willing to offer you one lump sum today. So what discount rate are they using? And that discount rate is 6%, right? So for example, the way you could also do this problem is, let's say you didn't know this one, but you knew now the discount rate is 6%. You could then solve for the present value. You could solve for the present value and it would give you the amount that they offered, okay? Let that sink in. I know it's a little complicated, but you know, the more exposure you get, the more you'll get comfortable with these questions. And it'll just take time. It takes time to get this information absorbed and get comfortable with it. Okay? All right, few takeaways. Keywords to look for when you're dealing with annuity due. So, for example, number of dollars at the beginning of each period. Or if you see a term like immediately or starting today, usually that's keywords that mean that your calculator needs to be in begin mode. Okay? All right, guys. I apologize again. I know that went really long, but I hope it was useful. I hope you got something out of it. Leave me any comments in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video.